As always, we will begin with 3 deep breaths. In, out, in again, and out. Last one in, and let out a nice little sigh. Today's topic is going to be the key to success. The reason being, I get asked that question very often. So I am going to answer this from obviously an energetic and spiritual point of view, because I feel like there are so many people out there that talk about the key to success and give you this template and this layout that you need to follow consistently and yada, yada, yada. Like every life coach and other types of spiritual practitioners will tell you that you need to follow this and that will have you be successful. And I don't necessarily think that that is the case. So the key to success is not just acceptance, right? So again, I'm not answering this from you're going to wake up and you're going to do this, and before you go to bed, you're going to do this. I'm going to talk about this in terms of how it can relate to your life, because the reality is all of you that listen to this podcast that I so deeply appreciate are all so different. And so I can't necessarily tell you what the key to success is going to be in your life, because 1, I'm not having a conversation with you, you're just listening to this episode. But 2, because success is also subjective. I think there is a collective success that everyone is striving for, and they might use all of the same words, but that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, right? Like person A's version of success is maybe being single and being able to travel the world and work from anywhere and meet tons of new people in different cultures. And then person B's idea of success is to be able to make money on a consistent basis, to buy a home, to raise a family, to be near family, you know? So your version of success, the first thing that you're gonna have to do with this episode and with this conversation is take a moment, sit back and ask yourself, what is success to me? And what exactly does that look like in my life? And there was a while ago, I made a video and I posted it on TikTok and Instagram. And it was questions that I gave to my one-to-one clients at the time. And basically I had them write out give me a script of someone that you can imagine in your mind that has the life that you want. So tell me all about it. Then the next step is, okay, what type of person do they have to be to achieve that level of success? So you can also do that practice as well. I guess a really short example is somebody that, we'll take that person A, somebody that travels the world, gets to experience new cultures, new languages, is single and just does whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Okay, what type of person is that? Okay, they are obviously independent. They are obviously comfortable with being in multiple uncomfortable situations. If they're going to a new country, eating different food, on a different time zone, in a different atmosphere, all of that type of stuff. So that is a short example. So if at this point in the podcast, in this episode, you want to pause, do that practice. And then let's see what your version of success looks like, right? But continuing further, okay? So, right, you're going to come back, you're going to press play. And what does the rest of this have to go with? So the reality is happiness. It's not acceptance. The energy of happiness is the key to success in life. And let me unpack that a little bit more for you. In a lot of the sessions that I have with people or community gatherings, I recognize that people feel if I just accept everything that happens to me, then that is the key to being successful, because I'll be able to go with the flow. However, the reality is no. Because I do know a lot of people that they accept every challenge that is thrown their way, or every circumstance rather, forget the word challenge, every circumstance that is sent their way, they accept, which is beautiful. Acceptance is a part of life if you want to keep moving forward. If otherwise, you're going to feel like you're swimming upstream all the fucking time. But acceptance doesn't mean that you're actually enjoying life. And at its base layer, when you did that practice, or maybe you didn't do the practice that I just said, but you're thinking about it, if you were successful, I assume, so maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but I assume at some level you would be like, oh shit, yeah, of course, if I'm successful, I'm happy. I'm achieving the things that I set out to achieve. I feel positive emotions and energy. So the acceptance piece of being the key to success is not what's going to get you to be successful. It is the happiness piece. When you are accepting these pieces that are coming forward to you in your life, can you find a little bit of happiness? Can you find a little bit of happiness in the things that fucking suck, right? So let's say, without giving anybody's life circumstances, sometimes these conversations are hard because I'm like, I have a good example because I'm obviously talking to somebody about this, but it can be a little difficult because to just think of random examples. But when something shitty happens in life, right? And you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to accept it. Like, this is a really shitty situation. I'm going to accept it. What is something that you can do to counteract that situation? Let's take grief, for example. Say you are moving through a big load of grief in your life, right? How can we continue to be successful throughout that grief experience? First off, yes, you do need to accept that that grief portal is happening for you, that grief is a thing that is present for you. But what else can you put in your day-to-day life to give you a little bit of happiness? I am really all about, if you've ever worked with me like one-on-one before, you've heard me say, we are going to build the yellow brick road. And the reason why I say that we are building this road is because it's little steps and little pieces. There's not one big thing. Listen, if you want to come on a retreat with us, that's great, that's fantastic. But you're not just going to sit with ayahuasca and then boom, your whole life is changed just because of the ayahuasca experience. No, it's going to be that integration. It's going to be what you take from that ayahuasca experience and little by little implement into your life that's going to change your life overall, evidently, right? Correct? So again, you're in this big grief period. What is something little that you can have? I have a friend, oh my gosh, maybe like over a year ago, her and I spoke, she like opened up my world, and I love bringing this up to people, is like horizon events. So this is really when it comes to that happiness, what is something that you have out on the horizon that you can look forward to? Now, of course, in certain circumstances, like there are big horizon events, but if we're in this grief portal, right, but we're looking to like still be successful, right? Like we are getting the shit done that we want to get done, but then boom, grief strikes us like lightning. What are little horizon events that you can have in your peripheral at least once a week? Can you take yourself out to a cafe that you really love? Can you take yourself out to the movies? Can you wake up every single morning and have your cup of coffee in silence while you watch the sunrise? These are little glimmers of happiness that are extremely important to being successful. So that practice that I gave like 3 or 4 minutes ago, what I noticed was so the cool thing about giving that practice to people was that people had such different ideas of success. And also, if they had the same idea of success, they thought people got there in different ways. But the number one thing that I recognized was that everyone had to have these little glimmers throughout either their day, their week, or their month. The reality is, if you are striving for things that like really require you to jump into the unknown, you have to have things that fill your soul with happiness, no matter how fucking small they are. I absolutely love sitting with my tea every single morning in silence. I love that shit. And when I'm not able to do that for long periods of time, it fucks me up. It throws me off my shit. Because I know that that is something that brings me happiness no matter how crappy I feel. I am in a female body, which means that my hormones are constantly moving around. So there are times at my cycle where I'm like, yes, I'm gonna fucking kill this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get that. And then there are other times in my cycle where I'm like, fuck, like I don't feel as inspired, or I don't feel like I can keep going. And that is when I remember you need to have those glimmers of happiness. It's not necessarily bypassing the experiences that are happening to you, because acceptance is a key part, not just to success, but fucking life in general. However, the most successful, okay, so let me define what I believe successful is. I think that successful is, there are so many different ones, but when I find people that are genuinely at peace with how their days go, they're genuinely at peace with their hobbies, with what they are inspired by, with what they do on a regular basis, with who they are surrounded by, I will always find that, first off, they're usually the chillest people I've ever met. And I always try to pick apart, like, how can I be that chill, right? Like, most of you that are probably listening to this know that I used to be on antidepressants. I've struggled severely in the past with anxiety and panic and mania. And I'm like, how do you get so chill? And then I recognize that no matter what comes forward for them, there are glimmers of happiness that they take into their life. They take into their every single day, no matter how small it is. So let's take a deep breath here and let it go. So once again, the key to success is finding happiness in the mundane, finding happiness in the everyday, finding happiness amidst everything that life has to throw at you. Yes, you should accept it, but just accepting it isn't going to give you that little boost to keep moving forward. And when it comes to being successful, whatever you deem that for you, even if success for you is living a slower lifestyle, right? Like intentionally slowing down and living a slow-paced lifestyle, just accepting moving slower is going to feel like a train fucking hit you, because most of us didn't grow up in those types of environments. So finding those beautiful puzzle pieces of happiness, that they might be the tiniest pieces to the puzzle, but in the end, they complete the puzzle. So many blessings to you and to yours. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to this in real time when this gets put out, January 4th, 2025 is when we have our next virtual cacao dieta, and those will be in the description if you would like to join us. And if you need any more information and want to sign up for our emails to stay intact, stay in contact with us, then go to the website.